Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name's Wangle, and today I'm going to be breaking down the new Pred patch with Terra. We just got the notes released by Omega, and we got the hero overview. We're going to look at this trailer first, then we're going to delve deep into the patch notes. I'm going to give my thoughts on them. I'm going to give you what characters I think are going to be worse, what characters I think are going to be really good next patch. Yeah, so let's just get into it. This is my first time doing one of these videos, so give me some feedback in the comments. But we got Terra here. We saw her reveal trailer.
Sharpen your axe and steady your shield. Terra is charging onto the battlefield. A fearless and unyielding warrior, Terra's raw strength and unrivaled power can strike fear in the heart of anyone
Yeah, so she's probably going to be like a bruiser tank type character.
Terra's passive ability is Hersa, which strengthens and empowers her abilities with additional effects once she's gained enough stacks.
Okay,
Terra
so
can
kind of like a
gain
crunch
stacks
passive.
of Hersa by damaging enemies with her basic attacks and abilities. Once she has maximum stacks, her weapons emit a radiant glow and the next ability cast will be empowered.
Okay, it looks like it's 5 stacks based
Terra's
on the number on the
primary
passive
ability
there.
is Ruthless Assault, where she swings her mighty axe around her, dealing 2 ferocious blows, slashing at all enemies in range. When empowered by Terra's passive ability, she strikes a devastating third blow that
118
deals
true
true
damage?
making this ability extremely potent as her main source of damage.
Jesus.
Terra's secondary
True
ability
damage
is
seems
Highland
nuts on
Hurl,
that.
where she pulls on the strength of her ancestors to hurl a powerful spectral axe
Alright,
towards
yeah,
a
so
target.
she throws it,
the
it
axe
slows.
pierces through minions and monsters, slowing any enemies it hits.
That's a pretty slow projectile,
While
to be
empowered
fair.
by Hersa, Highland Hurl will also root enemies for a short duration, which makes this
Okay,
ability
ranged
perfect for
CC.
initiating ganks, securing takedowns,
Yeah, as a
or
gank tool, that's
disengaging
nuts,
if the battle
to be
takes
honest.
a turn for the worse. Wild Rush is Terra's alternate ability, where she braces herself before charging forwards into the fray. Any enemies caught in the stampede are blasted back from the impact. When empowered, Wild Rush provides Terra with a shield for a short duration too. So
Okay.
it's great for keeping her in the fight a little longer and outlasting
Shield's
enemies on the
interesting.
battlefield.
That's probably like
Try
the tanky
combining
aspect
this
of her.
ability with Highland Hurl and Ruthless Assault to bear down on your enemies while dealing some serious damage along the way.
Interesting.
Terra's ultimate ability
She
is
seems like she'll be
Unstoppable
pretty good.
Force,
And then,
where
yeah,
she
this is just
strengthens
the
her
unstoppable
resolve,
ult from
bunkering
Paragon, I
down
think.
as an impenetrable bastion on the
Yep,
battlefield.
steals,
When
have fun.
activated, Unstoppable Force grants Terra maximum Hersa stacks, cleanses all debuffs, and makes her completely immune to crowd control effects, while also granting her extra physical and magical armor for the duration. This ability is great in teamfights or when you're facing an enemy who specializes in crowd control. Try to activate Terra's ultimate when an enemy uses one of their main crowd control abilities to immediately cleanse the debuff before rushing them wildly like the Unstoppable
gadgets in
Force
the
you
mud.
are. Try building into items that increase Terra's physical power and ability haste to make the most out of her hard-hitting playstyle. Then
Okay.
add in some armor items depending on the matchup to keep her in the fight. Carve your way through the battlefield with Terra.
Alright, there's the breakdown.
steadfast
Here's the skin.
bulwark-
The skin actually looks pretty
But
cool. I'm pretty
coming
sure
to-
this was the Paragon skin. But a couple things to break down, I think, with the ult that he mentioned. I think he mentioned that it gives max stacks on her passive, which is gonna be pretty interesting. I think there's some cool combos that you can do there. Like, you can engage with, like, an axe throw, hit the root, and then ult, so then you have the true damage on, I believe that's your Q, whatever the spin around is. So you can hit the true damage, or you can engage with the shield, be extra tanky. Also, he said you get armor when you press the ult. So I'm seeing like Giant's Ring is built in here. It's like one of the recommended items for her. I think it's going to be nuts, like the amount of tankiness you get when you press your ult. I think she's going to be like a cool, interesting, like tankier bruiser. Like tankier than like most of the type of bruisers that we have. Like tankier than Crunch, Kai, Grux, I would say. Which I think is going to be pretty interesting. It's a pretty cool role. It is, we are getting 2 offlane junglers in a row. I'm assuming she can jungle. I think her gank potential is going to be super nuts, being able to throw the axe at a range to root people. And also, her dash seems to go decently far. So, I think she'll be really, really good in the jungle, and she should be pretty good in the offlane. I I think she's going to be a really good addition to the cast. Again, another offlane jungler when we just got Aurora. You know, supports are shaking their fist in the air, but I think she'll be a cool addition to the cast. Let's just hope that she doesn't kill the game. Because for those that don't know, Paragon and Overprime shut down just after releasing Terra, but I believe in it. Let's see if the patch helps me believe in it. So we have the patch notes here. It's going to be V19's here. Spotlight, our stores are filled with summer skin sale. Okay. So if you guys have been wanting to buy skins, but been like, the skins are too expensive in this game, here we are. Steam, like, summer skin sale for Predecessor. Make sure to pick up some of the skins that you guys have been wanting. Balance, I think balance is going to be the big one, because I think a lot of people have been complaining about the balance. Rank this week was Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep. Alright, sounds good. Terra, we just watched the video. Ability, like we've seen all the abilities. Okay, yeah, so the passive is 5 stacks, but I think they said that you can stack it off of heroes and minions. So I think it's going to be super good for trading in offlane if you can just sit there on max stacks and then either like just throw your axe and root somebody or just trade with them with your Q and hit the true damage. The true damage seemed to do a pretty decent amount on its own, so pretty interesting. So it's dealing 61 plus 80% physical power damage. Or I think that's her basic attack. Okay, yeah. Basic attack, this deals damage, 80% scaling. Hitting an enemy hero refunds 10% of the cooldown per strike. Okay, so if you hit more swings, you're going to get more cooldown on this. This is going to be your main trading to an offlane. It's going to be your main clear tool in jungle, it seems. The third strike deals quite a lot of true damage, to be fair. Very, very interesting. That's quite a lot of damage to trade with. Let's see how... I'm interested to see how dominant she might be in the offlane. I think she's very much like a hard counter to some of the characters that we have in the meta right now. People that are complaining about like Aurora being very strong, people that hate playing against like Steels or Richters or these type of characters that are just completely CC based. I think these characters are going to have a really tough time dealing with this character. The thing I'm curious about is if her ult can be casted while you're stunned. If you can... Okay, cleansing all debuffs affecting her. Okay, yeah, so you can use it as a cleanse. So you can get hit by a stun and use it to cleanse the stun and move out of it. Which, I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest with you. I low-key wish that you had to use it beforehand, but it probably feels bad from the Terra's perspective when people just hold CC until after your ult's done. Your ult is for 6 to 8 seconds, which is quite a lot of time, to be fair, in a team fight. Because you're also getting tankier, so you're going to be up for quite a while. We got Griffin Knight skin, Mecha Terror Iggy, okay. Very beloved skin from back in Paragon. You know, if you guys enjoy Iggy, I don't, a little bit of a rat, but I might get it because I have to play this character so much for comp. I'm just kidding, Iggy's cool. Okay, Ruby Scarab Seraph. So something, I guess we're getting a Ruby Scarab skin line. Technically, with we already have Ruby Scarab's grux. This is not a skin from Paragon. This is a completely new one. That's actually really sick. I'm curious to see how she looks like in the ult. That's like my big one. Like with this red armor and everything. New bundle, we got Terra with a spray. As usual, the sprays are just goated. I need a spray wheel, bro. There's too many goated sprays in this game. Yeah, quite a lot of stuff here. Cool. Mecha Terror Iggy. You get the whole thing for Iggy. You get a spray, icons, whatever. Kira variant bundle. Okay, so we're getting a kind of blue, a pink variant of her skin that she released with. That's pretty neat. I didn't expect to get variants for this, but, you know, that's pretty sick. Ruby Scarab Seraph bundle with a cute little spray. Again, sprays are goated. Ruby Scarab Grux bundle variant. And this Onyx Ruby Scarab Grux was one of my favorite skins from Paragon, so I think it's super cool that it's back. I'm super excited for this. Ruby Scarab overall, you get Seraph and Grux and the Seraph spray. Summer skin sales up to 50% off on some favorites, so it varies per skin. I'm seeing 50% off on the Red Murdoch, and then ranging from 15 to 50% overall. So pretty neat, pretty neat. Some more stuff as well. The big ones I'm seeing here is the Rampage skin, the Rock Rampage. I think it's a goated skin. There's a couple good skins in here. Steam Summer Sale. You can pick up the bundles for less money. Pretty cool change. Get some of the exclusive rewards in there. Gameplay balance changes. Here's the big ones. Alright. Jungle XP increase in the mid game. Needed. A lot of people complaining about that. Feels very weird to play jungle right now. You always feel like you're below in levels, or you're 1v9 in the game. Those are kind of like the two things. Jungle objectives gain additional physical armor. Kind of wish magical as well, because Iggy kind of shreds objectives, but, you know, I'll take it. ADCs were kind of... I mean, Grim as well was kind of destroying it. I kind of wish there was more magic armor, but it's fine. Crit damage up, buffing crit, because on-hit has been so prevalent. Probably good change. I hope ADCs get nerfed overall, though, if they're doing this. Physical armor growth. Big ADC nerf. Okay, big. Outlier here in adjustments, including Grim Muriel Gideon. Ooh, interesting. Frontline support, buffs. Okay, let's get into it. So crit damage up by 5%. Gonna be really big for ADCs that want to build crit. Murdoch, it's gonna be big for, because it's pretty... Like, he likes to box people with crit, but you can't really do it with on-hit. It's pretty weird, so this is gonna be big for characters like Murdoch, for Revenant, these types of things. Even Drongo. If they're able to build crit again, it's going to be really big for them. Minion damage modifier. So melee minions are going to do more damage, but ranged minions are going to do less damage, I guess. I don't really know what that does, but sure. It's probably something to help with wave states. I couldn't tell you. Fangtooth physical armor gets 1 armor per level, and I think it levels up every 2 minutes or something like that, if I remember correctly. Physical armor increased on Primal Fangtooth by 10 and 2 per level, so, you know, pretty good change. Not going to burst the Primal Fang as hard. Orb armor increased plus 10 base, and the anti-heal debuff that the orb applies is increased by 10%, which is really good, I think, so that people aren't just... Like, I got 2-manned in one of my games by a Kalari and a Crunch doing orb at like 22 minutes, which felt really illegal, so I think this is going to be really big for that. I like these changes to the objectives. Red and Blue's health pool, a little bit too high. Yeah, I mean, Countess currently, it used to be 2 Q, like the second Q that you do on the red or blue buff would kill it. Now it's like 2.5, so a little bit less HP, gonna be good. Gonna be good for like early clears, and the scaling as well is down. Bug fix now correctly scales XP across the... Okay, so one of the jungle things was there was a bug, I guess. Interesting. Blue buff, same. Gold buff, getting a little bit of HP, so you have more time to contest. It's not just getting bursted every time. Cyan, I think, same thing, a little bit more health per level. The XP that it gives is getting lessened, so offlaners are not going to be as dominant in XP, at least by a little bit, if they're getting all the Cyans. Some jungle changes here. XP changes and increased. Overall, XP increases to jungle towards the mid game, so junglers can keep up. So good changes for XP here. balance. Time to kill is a little too fast. They're going to slow it down. Good change, especially in physical damage like carries and bruisers. Good, Omeda, thank you. What else are we seeing here? Increasing physical armor when level up. All melee heroes have gained 0.35 additional physical armor growth, and ranged heroes have gained 0.25. We have more armor. We're tankier. ADCs in the mud. Nah, not in the mud. They're still going to be good, but this was very necessary, so you're not getting 4-shot by a Drongo at 3 items. Or a Sparrow is just, yeah, tearing through you. I mean, Sparrow's still going to be like that probably, but... Okay, Drongo buffs nerf. Damage decreased on the Q. Mana cost increased. Particle Shredder damage increased by 8 at max level, which is going to be a huge buff for him. This is because his RMB, the Particle Shredder, feels pretty bad right now. It's pretty underwhelming in the amount of damage it does. And 8 doesn't sound like a lot, but with the amount of hits you're like, it's going from 52 to 60, which is almost like, it's like a 20% increase or something like that. Close to 20%, a little bit less, maybe like 15%, which is quite a decent increase to the amount of damage that it's going to be doing at max level. So this is really, really big for Argus. I think Argus might be really good next patch. I kind of said he was bad this patch. I was kind of wrong. His Q and his ults are really good. And with this, I think he'll be a really good mage next patch. Aurora, she's getting her clear speed nerfed. That's really good because you can do some very BS clears where you clear your whole jungle and then invade before the enemy jungler has cleared theirs. Cooldown increased on the root. Good change. Makes it less toxic to trade in off lane. The RMB, the sweep, going to be doing a little bit less damage in both instances, but the magical power scaling is increased. So people that are going tank Aurora aren't really going to get this bonus. They're going to be doing less damage. So they'll still be tanky, but they will have more difficulty killing you. Her ult, damage decreased, magical power scaling up, explosion damage decreased, but the magical power scaling is up, and cooldown increase. So cooldown increase is big here. They're giving her magical power scalings to buff up people that want to build magical power Aurora, but the people that are going tank Aurora and just kind of stat checking you are going to stat check you much less hard, or a lot less hard. So it feels like there's actual counterplay. So it's, you know, risk reward. I like these changes. Countess, damage on the Q increased. This is going to be big for jungle Countess because it's 4 times on jungle camps. So this 10 damage is 40 damage on the red buff when you're doing it level 1, which I think is massive for her clear, especially with the buffs getting less tanky. I don't really know what it does for mid lane though. And healing on the RMB increased by 2 per level. It's fine. It's decent for sustain. I think she's going to be good in jungle. I still don't know about mid lane. Mid lane I'm still kind of dubious, but we'll see. Crunch, the E, or the knock-up hitbox range increased. The knock-up range decreased by 15%. So the times when you think you're out of Crunch's range and he just hits you with this random knock-up from 50 million miles away, not happening anymore. But the E is increased, so I think it's probably, I would say that the slow and the knock-up are the same range now, which I think is a good change. It's better for him to engage with the slow, but he's not going to catch you from stupid ranges now. Drongo, attack speed up. No nerfs. Okay, interesting. That correctly applies rad rounds. Interesting. Feng Mao, shield decreased by 20 level 1, so his trading isn't as toxic level 1 in lane. The dash cooldown refund reduced by 5%, so he's not gonna... This seems just like cooldown, or nerfs for offlane trading early. I think really good changes. Execute threshold is down a little bit, and the hitbox height decreased by 40%. So he's not going to catch you in the middle of the air. You can actually jump above this. Good change. Good change. A little bit of revert on the buffs that he got last patch. I mean, good. Gideon mana regen decreased. Okay, Gideon's always had mana issues, and now they're going to give him even more. Magical power scaling down on the Q, and base damage down by 5. Okay, so his main rock drop is going to do less damage, going to scale less. You know, it's still probably going to do a lot of damage. It's still a high damage ability, but you're not going to get two-shot as easily by 2 rocks, so I think it's good. Black hole ult cooldown increased, big nerf, 10 seconds every level. Pull strength decreased by 10%, now has a half-second delay before it begins to pull in enemies. These changes are going to be big. These are going to be big, because if you've ever been just hit by 2 rocks and then Gideon ults on your head in lane, or if you're right at the edge of the Gideon ult and you're like, why can I not get out of the Gideon ult? This is going to change it. This is like those scenarios where you're like, I shouldn't be in the Gideon ult. This guy ulted poorly, but I'm still getting hit by the whole thing. What is this? This is big. I don't think Gideon will be bad. Gideon's still going to be Gideon, but this is a big nerf. Grim. This is the character we want to see it. Grim XE is too strong. True. Alright. Passive down. Good. Damage decreased on his displacement blast. 5 at all levels. Okay, sure. It's a little bit of a nerf. 8% physical scaling down on his assault mode. 5% magical scaling down on the assault mode. The mana cost is increased and the mana restore. Big set of changes here. Big set of changes. So when he activates the assault mode, he's going to be doing significantly less physical scaling, significantly less magical scaling, and he's not going to be able to have it on for as long. People that play Grim are actually going to have to think about using this ability. He's not going to just permanently have max mana. I think this is a really big change. And then ult, damage down, 40 level 1, 10 at max level. I think it's necessary. It was doing way too much damage too early. So, good changes. I'd like to see some changes to ADC items, though, to go on it. Grux, Omnivamp. Okay, wait. Okay, he actually just has 30% Omnivamp at level 16 right now. Which explains the moments where Grux just kind of wins every fight, I guess. So, minus 5% Omnivamp at max level, 2% at lower levels. You're going to be able to fight him a bit better now. Damage on the pull down, I think. Yeah, down by 15 all levels. Good. Double pain physical power scaling down. The physical power steal down. And the cooldown has been increased. Really good set of changes. Grux almost felt unfightable for certain characters. Didn't feel like there was any kind of downtime with his ult. So now he maybe has to opt into haste, so he can't just go Bonesaw Sky Splitter. Really good changes here. Bringing Grux a lot more in line. Cooldown increased on Howie. Missile. Yeah. Very much a Boolean lane. Iggy changes. Health and mana decreased. Flame turret. Cooldown decreased. Okay. Magical health scaling on the turrets down. Magical armor on the turrets down. Okay, so it's easier to take out if you're playing a mage. The burn damage on the oil spill is down, so it's going to be less toxic for clearing waves, so maybe you can interact with the Iggy lane a bit more now. The Molotov scaling is down, and the ult base damage is down by 30 at all levels. So decent Iggy nerfs. This character was also, it's just extremely easy to play for just how good it is. So really good nerfs here. Attack speed increased, attack speed growth increased. Okay, Kalari's going to be able to clear a lot better, I think. I think this really ups her clear speed. And that was one of her big things, is you kind of always, you cleared too slow and you were kind of always low. So I think this is going to be really big for Kalari jungle, to be able to clear faster, gank more, and be a little bit healthier. Kira, damage per stack on her passive decreased. Damage on her when she expunge, or sorry, the cooldown on her Dusk is going to go down at max level. So maybe I think you do just want to max its ability first every time, because 10 seconds is kind of crazy, the amount that you're able to trade. Sure, but level 1, it's not going to be as insane. Damage on the Mercy, down a little bit. Physical power scaling, decreased on it. Good changes. Kira was very strong right now. On-hit modifier on her ult, down. So a little bit of on-hit nerf on her. Some okay Kira nerfs. I think she'll still be good. I don't think it's enough to make her bad. Kwang, mana growth increased. Passive damage down per level, or 4 base down. It's still same per level. Cooldown on his root has been decreased at max level. Okay, Kwang buffs. Shield decreased level 1 by 20, but it's still the same level 5. Okay, so it's just a little bit of early trading nerfs. Magical power scaling up, max health scaling up. Okay, so the shield's just gonna be way bigger now. And now the ult is doing a little bit more damage. And magical power scaling up. Okay, so Kwang got a couple magical power scalings up. The cooldown, some Kwang buffs. Kwang was really good already. So I think Kwang is going to be very strong next patch based on these buffs. Like, they're not massive, but he was already really good, so buffing him's kind of crazy. Health up on Belica, sure. Magical power scaling on the RMB. It was necessary. Cooldown decreased. Okay. I don't know if Belica's back, but I think she's in a much healthier state, probably as a counter pick to some things like Gadget or Argus, like these things that want to build Alchemical Rod that you're going to play into. She's able to maybe match some wave clear now. So, interesting changes. Cooldown on the Mark increased, magical power scaling decreased. Cool. A little bit of a Morgesh nerf. She needed it. Was very easy to play as well. I think I'm seeing some Muriel nerfs here. Mana regen down. Damage on her passive. Magical power scaling on the passive. Damage on the Q down. Shield decreased. Damage decreased on the shield. And the ult damage decreased, but the magical power scaling increased. So the big shield that you're going to get is up. Never mind, it's down by 70 to 90 at all levels. Cooldown increased at higher level. Damn. So, some decent Muriel nerfs here. She kind of needed it. She was very good. But she was very good as well because ADCs are so good and she likes to buff them up. So, yeah, Muriel getting hit pretty hard. Damage on the Lance down for phase, and the Link cooldown increased. Okay, you know, decent phase nerfs. Or, I mean, it's like just a little bit, just to not make her as toxic in lane. Boulder throw cooldown is slightly down, 0.5 seconds. And mana cost decreased. Rampage, Rumble damage decreased, but the physical power scaling's up. I think good choice. Like, you know, changes to ramp. Sure. Basic attack timing a little bit lower, so Rev's going to be shooting a little bit quicker. And critical strike damage modifier increased. So 135 to 155 to 145 to 170. Or sorry, 160 to 1. Okay, 10% critical strike damage modifier on top of the 5% crit bonus. Is Rev back? It's been a while since this character's been playable, but is Rev back? Interesting. Richter damage increased on the silence, mana growth increased, magical power on the electrocute up, and health scaling. And skewer damageable. Okay, so he's not a lot tankier, but you're able to mana sustain a bit better, and you're going to have more kill pressure when you hit the hooks. So it's probably more rewarding if you hit the hooks. Richter's, you know, it's a good buff. It's a good buff. He's still going to get punished if, you know, you position poorly or throw out stupid hooks, but I think it's good. Mana decrease on the Siphon, damage per tier increase, and the ult damage increased. Okay, Sev buffs. Let's go! Sev's gonna be meta for PCC again! Yay! I'm so sick of this character being meta every single time PCC comes around. But sure, I mean, thanks for not in the greatest spot. I think Sev was playable already, but sure, we get some Sev damage buffs. A couple Shinbi nerfs here, actually. So the shield is going to get nerfed a little bit on her circle rhythm, and her passive, I guess, 1%. I mean, Shinbi's basically the same. Nothing really there. Max health damage down a little bit, and that's per hit, so that's a pretty decent nerf. Damage on her piercing shot down, so she can't just poke you down as hard in lane, and the side arrow damage on her ult getting nerfed at the higher levels, so she does actually have to aim the middle one a little bit harder. Faye, damage decreased on Harvest Nettles. Sure. Mark max health damage from 6% to 8% at max level. Okay. That's pretty interesting. Wraith, pretty decent buff. Magical power scaling down. Damage increased on the snipe by 5, but the physical power scaling up by 10%. Decent Wraith buffs. A lot of people were telling me Wraith is really good on the current patch, and that people, but like you actually have to be good at playing him in order to get the value. And now he's getting buffed. Interesting. Gonna be very interesting to see. Maybe Wraith is back, baby. Zarus, I'm seeing quite a lot of nerfs here, I think. Max health healing per stack is down. Physical power scaling on the basic attacks is down. Damage mitigation decreased on the shield, 10% at max level, at all levels. Mana cost on the dash is up. Physical power scaling on the spear down. Cooldown, or sorry, duration on the ult down by half a set. So a lot of Zarus nerfs. I think they're necessary, because this character, like with the ult that it has, I think is always going to be good just because of the ult. So making the rest of his kit weaker to like bring him into line, I think is fine. This character's super strong right now. It is kind of just the answer to broken ADCs. So Judgment, damage type changed to magical. Damage is now flat and a little bit less scaling. Sure. Alright. I think a little bit better early, but damage changed on Judgment. Cost decreased on Dust Devil, but attack speed down. Attack speed down on Equinox. Physical power up, attack speed decreased. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of attack speed decreases. Multi-shot changed, so I guess like close range damage is nerfed a little bit, but max range, I don't really know. I don't really know what this does, I guess. Plasma Blade's getting 5 more physical power, 5 more magic power, but slightly less attack speed. Okay. I mean, we did hit Grim pretty hard, so sure, it's fine. Like, Grim's going to be getting a little bit more power for both, but his E scalings are down, so I think it makes up for it. A lot of attack speed decreases, though, which I think is good, because ADCs were just killing you in 4 shots, and the 4 shots were coming out in less than 2 seconds. So I think it's good. And it means that they can, like, the shots that they miss are going to be more impactful. Current health damage decreased. Good. I can't believe this item came out and it was 5% current health every hit. We're now at 3.5%. Still probably going to be a good item against tanky people. Attack speed down on Stormbreaker. Good change. Physical power increased. Attack speed down. Physical pen up by 1. Physical pen down by 1. Okay, so ADC items, I think, are these. I'm seeing a lot of attack speed nerfs. I think those are good. On hits, definitely taking a hit. I don't think ADCs are going to be bad. I think ADCs are still going to be good, but they're going to be significantly worse. Or, like, they're going to be worse. like, you're gonna be able to feel it. They're not gonna be as broken as they were before it. You're still gonna be able to play ADC. You're still gonna enjoy it. People that are good at ADC will still shine. But I think a lot of these nerfs are really, really good and necessary. At least for on-hit, because of how just broken on-hit was. Physical Pen up on Malady. Infernum, physical power scaling decreased. Bonus cinder damage decreased. Infernum hit, cool. Up by 1. No one's building this item, to be honest. I still don't think it does anything. Tenacity removed on Bonesaw. That's pretty big, but the physical power's up. So people that were buying it for Tenacity, it's going to be less of an answer to characters like Aurora or Steel. I think this is a good change. Mutilator, max health damage is down a little bit. That's fine. Combustion, magical pen down. The explosion damage down. Okay. Might be able to build some other things than combustion on some characters. I think characters that are really good bursty or need some sort of wave clear is still going to be good, but, you know, maybe some room for some other first items. Health up on Dreambinder. Noxia power decreased and the cooldowns increased on the passive. Good change. Prophecy, slight nerf. I know a lot of people are running Prophecy currently and just kind of walking other people down, especially in lower elos, so good change. I don't really see it in my elo, but cooldown decreased on Soulbinder. Soulbinder buff. I think this item, I'm gonna have to relook at this item, because if Combustion's getting nerfed and Soulbinder's getting buffed, I think there's gonna be more room. I think this is gonna be a good item though. I think this is gonna be an item that I might regularly build, especially on like Howitzer. Max health to magical power increase 4.5 to 5%. Good change. Dawnstar health up, Dynamo health up. You know, good tanky items. Frosted Lure up. Physical armor up on Hexbound. So some really good tanky support health buffs. Gonna be really good for the Steels and the Richters out there. Especially with the Richter buffs. Look out for that character again. Everbloom now only applies to ally heroes, not yourself. Good change. Item super strong, so if you're able to kill the person that's applying it, you're now able to a bit easier. Really good change. Martial nerf, okay. More enchanter nerfs, more on-hit nerfs. Good. Frostguard, physical armor up, regen up. Frostguard buff. Ooh. This item's already really good. So tanks eating good. Damage increase on Tainted Guard, really good. Crit damage reduction increased from 12% to 15%. Probably needed with the critical strike increases, both for Revenant and for every character that's building crit. So, you know, a little bit of something to counteract it. And then I don't think that there's a lot of anything that's super important in here. Those are the bug fixes, but that is going to be it for the patch notes. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think these are some really good changes. We went really in depth, a little bit of a long video. I apologize for that, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I hope this was educational, and I will see you guys next time.